Coming to you from the great state of Wisconsin, this is a CS27 Studios production. You're listening to the Binary Brothers Podcast featuring Ryan and Clay. It's time now to open your ears and prepare your mind because life's too short to be constrained in black and white. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Ryan and Clay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Binaries Brothers podcast episode. My goodness, it's been a long time. I'm a little bit rusty. Episode 37. My name is Clay, and with me co-hosting, as always, is Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
That lovely gentleman on the other side of the viewer frame. If you're watching this...
Yeah, if you're watching, just as a reminder, if you're listening, you have the ability to watch now.
Yeah, we're fancy time now. Made it to the big show.
Oh, yeah.
So this episode, we have titled it already as COVID to Electric Boogaloo, so hold on to your butts, folks.
You know what's coming.
You know what's coming. But first, like, we can't just jump into it.
No.
Obviously.
No. You can't.
No, I hurt ourselves.
Yeah, scratch first.
Yeah. So, Ryan.
Yes, Clay?
Let's start this stretching. What have you been listening to?
Okay, my friend. Let me tell you what I've been listening to. And that is basically everything. It's like nothing in particular. I don't feel like I've listened to anything, like over and over again recently that has been anything actually new.
No new releases that really hit your eye?
I've been listening to new releases. So what's kind of messed up my music game and like my new release game a little bit has been Google Play Music is shutting down.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I don't really use Google Play Music, but I heard about it.
Yeah, so it's shutting down. And I'm sticking with it in the transfer to YouTube Music because I'm grandfathered in at $8 a month.
So what's the difference between Google Play Music? So Google Play Music is now becoming YouTube Music. Does it mean all of your songs are transferring to video form?
So you have to... So that's part of it. This thing is kind of annoying, man. And like one of my friends is like, oh yeah, I did like the switch, and he's like, I don't like it. And I don't know, if it weren't for the price, I might not like put up with it. It feels like they're transitioning too early. Like they're not ready. There's not feature parity between like the two like systems.
I feel like us two being in the whole programming business, really shouldn't be surprised about that.
I'm not surprised. Like someone higher up in the chain was like, all right, we're shutting it down. You got to switch it over. Get the transfer tool ready. And so the transfer tool is ready. It works. And like my library is transferred and stuff, but stuff's still a little bit wonky. And like they're drawing this super hard line between like your uploads and like their streaming content, and like your likes are mixed with your YouTube stuff. And I don't know. It's not as much of a music service as it is. I mean, it is what it says. It's YouTube Music. I don't know.
What does the cost all contain? Is it just YouTube Music, or does it include like YouTube Premium or whatever it's called?
YouTube Premium. So like Google Play Music was a deal back in the day because like you got like ad-free YouTube and I forgot what else. So you got all that. You could upload your own music, all that stuff, right? And at 11 p.m. on the last day of the deal to lock in your $8 price instead of $10. And then it eventually became like 12 or something like that.
That's how they hit you.
Right. So like I got locked in at that $8 price and I got ad-free YouTube. And so now if you had that, you have YouTube Premium, which means no ads on YouTube, and you get all the music streaming and stuff. I don't know what else it includes. Basically, nothing is changing for me other than the app that I have to use to do it.
Oh,
but like,
is it a different app than like the YouTube app on your phone? Or?
Yes, it's a different app. It's the YouTube Music app, which is conveniently on Android shortened to YT Music. It's a whole thing. I actually had a problem once with a client where like they wanted their app to be called something, and Apple flagged it. They're like, you can't call your app this thing because your app is not that thing.
Was your client Fortnite?
No.
This whole thing going on with Fortnite and Apple.
I don't know that I fully understand it.
Yeah, I don't really either. It's something to do with like the whole, I think like logging in.
Really?
Or something.
I know like apparently like game streaming services like xCloud and Stadia and all that, they're not allowed on the App Store. Yeah. Because of some weird rule about them, like they'd have to submit a change every single time a game got added or removed. And the games within the streaming service need to be searchable, like just through the App Store. So if you search for Fortnite and it's on Stadia, like Stadia should come up or whatever. I don't know. That's my understanding. And like everybody's super mad about it. Like all the people at those game streaming services are like, Apple's making the wrong decision and it's hostile to everyone except for their own gaming service. But all that to say, friends, that I've just been listening to the regular stuff, the regular rotation. My Childish Gambino radio, my Motion City soundtrack radio, all that stuff. Some nice chill, some lo-fi hip hop stuff, you know, lo-fi in the background to keep me focused,
to relax and study too.
Exactly. To make bugs too. Right. Just writing terrible code over here.
It's job security, right?
Exactly. I'm telling you add a delay to every single API call in your application, and when people are like, I wish it was faster, you just bump it down a little bit.
Unethical life programming tips.
Yeah, you off for that. Don't tell anyone I said to do it.
So I think the issue between Apple and Fortnite is, or Epic, I guess, the creator of Fortnite. So the in-game currency, because Fortnite's free, right?
Yes.
So
it's free to play.
It's free to play, which means it's pay to win. And well, I mean, I guess it's not. It's just, I think Fortnite does only cosmetic items, I think, right? For payment.
I think so. It's kind of like,
so it's not really pay to win, but it's pay to look cool.
Right. Like I sometimes I have a car in Rocket League that I use that's just like the stock car.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the Octane.
Because I want to get out there and I want people to call me a noob.
The Octane has, in my opinion, the Octane has the best hitbox.
I've been using the Fennec like for.
I don't even know which one that is.
Yeah.
I know like the original is the Octane.
Yep.
Anyhow.
So the currency.
So since it's free to play, they have in-game currency to buy cosmetic stuff or whatever, right? Pay to look cool, and remember, look good, feel good, play good. So it's basically pay to win.
Science.
Science. And so, but instead of doing the payment via like Apple, the iOS like payment. Mm-hmm. You would be doing the in-game payment like straight on Epic's or Fortnite's like own server or whatever, like directly to them.
They go to Epic. You accumulate credits there, and the credits are accessed from your Apple device.
Yeah, and Apple does not like that. Mm. It wants to have 100% monopoly on purchases within the App Store and the games.
Yeah, once it's cut.
Yeah. Especially since it's a free-to-play game, so like they're not getting any cut from this game being there, except for the $100 yearly, fee, developer fee. So Apple wants money. They had this big freaking spaceship built. They need money.
They have a spaceship. You think spaceships are free, y'all? They're not.
To be fair, though, Apple has. To be fair. Apple has a crap ton of money in the bank.
Didn't
They have they could like not do anything for years and they would be just fine. They could not sell another thing. They could not make another dollar of revenue for years and they would be completely fine.
They just hit like $2 trillion.
Yeah,
I heard. I remember at some point, I'm pretty sure it was Steve Jobs said, like, he was like, I will use all of Apple's money to bury Android. Like, he's like, I will throw all of the money at it if I need to.
That's capitalism for you. Good old monopolies.
Calm down. Speaking of which, there's a new BlackBerry coming out. So
I thought Blackberries were dead.
No, man. Like BlackBerry, I forgot who bought them. Someone bought them, and someone else bought them, and now they're coming back. They're coming back with a physical keyboard again, still, and they're running a version of Android, which I guarantee will be not kept up to date and terrible because everyone except for Google is pretty bad at that. Samsung's getting better actually, but I still don't like Samsung.
They still got to add their little stuff onto it on top of the Android. Add their little widgets.
I can't wait for Pixel 5 to get announced. I'm buying that.
You still have the Pixel 3? Did you get the Pixel 4?
No, I have this super terrible Galaxy A51 right now. My Pixel 2, may it rest in peace, was not cutting it anymore.
No,
it was very bad. Imagine. So I got this as a Gap phone for pretty cheap.
Oh, I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it's not a good time. So
struggling.
If the 5 is like too expensive and the reviews aren't good, then I'll just get a 4A because people are saying the 4A is pretty good.
I mean, my 3 is great. Still hanging in there.
Catherine loves hers.
It's fantastic. I mean, wish it would have had a, headphone jack like the 3A, but
ooh, yeah.
I digress. Next phone, maybe. Next phone. Oh, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what the next Nexuses have. Or Pixels, not Nexuses.
Oh, man, throwback.
Gone.
Ah, dude, I got a drawer full of Nexus 6Ps right here, too.
I have my Nexus 7 somewhere.
I got my settlement money for that phone, too.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
That's like the first time I've ever had a settlement, like, actually pay out, like, real money. Like, I forgot the last one I got a notification about was like, yeah, you could claim your $2 if you want. Like, it's not worth the time.
I just got an email the other, like, last week or something about a class action lawsuit or something.
Mm-hmm.
Did I delete that?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, no, I still have it. Here we go.
Is it a Google Plus one?
Yeah, it's Google Plus.
Yep, that's what it is.
How much money could I get?
It's $2, dude. I swear to God. I swear I'm like...
So Google's going to be paying $7.5 million to fund this class action settlement. So lawyers get like 99% of that, and then
Google Plus, man.
I liked Google Plus when it first came out.
Me too.
I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was it had some good features, especially at that time, like compared to Facebook. The problem is nobody was on it because everyone was on Facebook, and Google made it frickin' private, invite only. So that's why it died.
It was invite only at first, and I have so many people like in my Google contacts now because they were like hitting me up for Google Plus invites. Like you could only get on it if you like knew someone who had access to it, and like I got access to it really quick. And so I remember I was in some group where like I got like 40 or 50 other people in, and so like I got these random people in my contacts.
No, it was nice. It had like the circles were pretty cool. Like it was a good way of grouping like friends or just others that you wanted to follow or whatever. So you could share to certain groups or whatever, certain circles, and
it was like a one-stop shop for like all the stuff I wanted. Like Google Plus, I followed a bunch of news, like Android news sites. Like I had a circle for them and like a circle for like Windows news and like whatever sports news and all this stuff. And so it's like you can just go and look at a circle and see all the posts for like all this stuff. Man, that thing had potential, but yeah, nobody was on it
because it was invite only.
Yeah, they blew it.
They did. They really did.
OnePlus made that invite-only thing work, though.
I mean, Google's done that with a lot of their products, and some of them have worked, like Gmail.
Right. Inbox.
But Gmail was like a kind of a big step up compared to the other options that you had. Where Google Plus was like trying to take a market share away from Facebook. Like Facebook was already kind of up and running and like, established and doing good. Everybody was using it.
It's tough. It's tough to crack into a new market.
It really is. It really is.
What have you been listening to, Clay?
I've been hitting up a lot of Killers.
Yeah.
Recently, the new album was released today.
Oh, it's a new album out? I know they had a new single.
They had a couple new singles, and then today they dropped the album, which had those singles. I really enjoyed some of those singles that they released. Unfortunately, the rest of the album was kind of take it or leave it for me.
No.
Like, usually when I think of good albums, usually the singles aren't the best songs on the album.
Yeah.
That tends to be like a mark of a good album to me.
Is like a good album has like, I mean, obviously the singles get the radio play and they get a lot of attention, but like a good album put together is like not only maybe an entire piece, but like it's all the stuff that doesn't make it out as singles that are like still really solid songs.
Yeah, like they're solid songs. They're good songs. They're just not like the type of songs that really work on the radio or whatever. They're not really marketable, But they're still really good songs. I didn't really feel like this album had any songs like that. Like I don't know if there were any like terrible songs. It was just but it was like nothing memorable. Okay. Except for the the singles. I really did like the singles. Like I would say my favorite track on their new album is their single "Dying Breed."
Yeah.
Like that and Caution are kind of the two main singles, and in my opinion are the two best songs on the album. So I was a little disappointed. Like there was not another song that I found that was like, oh, this is a really good song too. That I hadn't heard before. It was just like I'm still waiting to hear another good one. But so it was unfortunate. But I've been playing a lot of just Killers compilation playlists or whatever. So good stuff. But yeah.
Now you got me in the new releases section. I'm out here.
I know. I think I saw it just come up on my like Google feed or something. Or no, maybe it was Twitter. All of a sudden, like it was a trending thing, like Killer's new album. I was like, oh crap! dropped today. Because I
normally go on like the hot new hip hop subreddit, and they normally have they have a new albums Friday sticky that they do. So,
I mean, a lot of new albums drop on a Friday. It seems like.
That's it, man. I know we talked about everything coming out in September, but
I mean, we're almost there.
We are almost there. Man,
it's nuts.
I cannot wait to get my Run the Jewels 4 bundle. I forgot about that. That's one of the nice things about like pre-ordering stuff like that.
You forget about it.
You entirely forget about it. Like every time I look at my orders in Amazon, I'm reminded about the fact that before Amazon like lost the 20% discount on video game pre-orders, and they switched it to like, I think it's like a $10 sometimes discount. I like pre-ordered a handful of games, so it was like the Final Fantasy VII remake and a couple other things, and I pre-ordered the Metroid Prime 4 game, and I've since heard that it's been like entirely scrapped and started from scratch again. I saw an article the other day that was like, oh, they found a new lead for it. But every time I go in my orders in Amazon, it's all like, order placed. But one day we will get a new Metroid Prime.
One day. I know I've been happy to see that Cyberpunk hasn't been delayed further.
Yeah.
It's still a go for November.
It's
which would be great.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty pumped for that. One of the few games I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I finally beat. We probably already talked about this, but I finally beat Rootin' Tootin' Cowboy 2.
Oh, you beat it.
Yeah, so I beat that.
It's a lovely game.
Death Stranding I gotta do. I got Far Cry 5 for $3 or something, so I started playing that.
Nice. I just recently started playing Fall Guys a lot.
I've heard that name a million times.
It's free on PlayStation right now.
I don't know what it is.
It's like, so the only reason I started playing it was someone gifted it to me because I don't have PlayStation. So they gifted it to me on Steam. Because they wanted to play it, and I was like, what is it? And I looked at it, it's like $14 or something. Like, I don't really want to pay $14 for a game that I'm probably not going to play without other people.
Right.
And it's definitely a game, I think, that if you're going to play solo, you're going to get bored of really quick.
Okay.
It's a game that is based around basically MXC. Or like Wipeout, I guess, is the more modern version. You remember MXC, right?
No. What?
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge? Have you never seen MXC?
I'm Googling it. I'm very sorry. Okay, I recognize these pictures. I've seen videos of it, but I don't think I've ever like really watched.
You need to. I think. I don't know if there's like, you can find them. You can definitely find them.
Oh, I've got ingenuity. I'm resourceful.
You've got some sources. Oh my god, it's such a great show. It's hilarious. Like late 90s, early 2000s type of. So it's all like just, it's based on like those type of things. So, and then you know what Wipeout is, right?
Yeah, Wipeout for sure.
Wipeout is basically MXC, just without the overdubs and not as funny.
Okay.
But it's like those types of like competition things or like survival level things.
Okay.
So that's what Fall Guys is. It's just basically a bunch of minions. And you just do these competition things, levels, to try and be the last one standing, essentially.
You were trying to make it to the end?
Yeah. And it's fun. Don't get me wrong, but like it's fun if you're playing with others. If it's just by yourself, like it just came out, so they may add more levels over time, but right now there's not a whole lot of like variation.
Yeah.
So it gets very repetitive. But I've been playing that. It's been fun. But I'm definitely looking forward to a game like Cyberpunk, though.
For sure. I'm literally buying this game right now. Not buying. I have PS Plus, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, if you have PS Plus, definitely get it. Like it's.
I'm claiming it.
Claiming it. I'm copping this.
Must cop.
Looks like I'm getting a 5-finger discount from PlayStation. But yeah, it's it's fun. Yeah. I think I've only won once. I've gotten close many times, but I always choke at the end. I get really nervous at the end trying to win. I always screw up.
Yeah, I mean,
not super clutch at the game, that's for sure.
But there, sometimes you end up a little tilted.
Yeah, I would say it's the opposite of Rocket League for me. Rocket League, I can make things happen. There is a game.
I finally made it to platinum.
Oh, nice.
Rocket League, but like, it's only with my friend. Like, it's only with this dude. Like, I can't. I think if I play competitive twos, there's no way I would end up ranking down. It's like he and I play together, and we know how each other play.
Right.
And stuff.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I always I feel like I could be better if I had a team, but I always just played solo, whether it be duels or threes or whatever.
Yeah, I can't play threes.
Threes, like, I'm fine with threes.
I just haven't put the time into like learning the rotation and like being in the right place. And I
mean, it's much easier to rotate with threes than for twos. Like, you can. In threes, you can commit 2 people to offense. In twos, you really can't.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
Right.
You're right.
So threes is pretty easy to rotate. I think I got up to like plat 3 or something in both of those.
Yeah, the guy I play with is we play twos. He's a diamond in twos.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got up to diamond. But this was a while ago. I haven't played Rocket League in quite a while, honestly. Like, not like enough to establish a rank.
Yeah.
I may like hop in from time to time, but
it's been speaking of like free to play, like pay to look good to win.
Yeah, right.
Someone trash talked me for having a quote $5 car one time, and I'm like, why? Why are you? I guess if that's important to you that you've spent a bunch of money on your digital car in this game.
Oh, is he saying that you only had a $5 car?
Yeah, he was saying that like the value of the things on my car was only $5.
Like, I don't think I've ever paid for a car.
I don't
think I've paid for anything.
Like,
I paid.
I get all my stuff from him.
Yeah, so I think I've paid for like. So this is before Epic. I think it's Epic bought Rocket League, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've played since Epic bought it.
And they changed from loot boxes to like blueprints now.
Yeah. So I think I've only played like once maybe since the blueprints became a thing.
Yeah.
So I think I only bought like one pack of like 5 keys or whatever back when there was still loot boxes. Like, that's the only thing I've ever done to open up because I had a crap ton of crates, right? I was like, well, I might as well just like get a couple keys and open a couple,
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, and I got a couple neat skins or whatever, but like otherwise, like, I have all like kind of whatever default items that are in the game.
Like, it's just unlocked, yeah,
unlocked items basically. I don't care. But yeah, I don't know if I'm ever really gonna go back to really playing Rocket League like I used to.
Yeah.
Not since Epic took it over. I'm not really a fan of kind of the things they're doing with it.
Yeah, they've been making changes.
Yeah, I used to play like competitive, like I think it's called minor league esports now. I used to play in like that league.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It used to be called minor league doubles.
Okay.
And I played like maybe 2 seasons or something for that. I was probably one of the worst players in that league. But
yeah, it's insane how you can go through like the progression, like on Rocket League in competitive, against other people, and it's like you would get just torn apart by anyone that plays like Rocket League.
And
even if you're a grand champ, like
right?
You're the highest ranked online player. Get out of here. You're not competing with these other people.
Right. Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts how good people are at games, or those types of games. Speaking of which, so a new golf game dropped today. I didn't get it. I probably won't get it until it gets discounted.
It'll be on sale eventually.
Yeah. It's very similar to like the other golf games I played. It's basically the same game. It's just it's now like PGA Tour affiliated and a couple new improvements or whatever. Okay. Couple new things, but like I played kind of competitively in those games for a while, those golf games, and I would consider myself pretty decent.
Okay.
Or I was. For the couple years that I played, but I only won one tournament, and it was a tournament. There was a tournament every week, and I only won one tournament, and it was not even like the top league tier. There's like different tiers or whatever. I eventually worked my way up, and I was on like the top tier for a season, but the one tournament win I had was like on like the third tier.
Okay.
But if I wanted to win on like one of the top two tiers, good luck. It wasn't going to happen. Some of the players, you're talking about having to shoot like negative 50s or 50 under par for a tournament, 4 rounds.
Jeez.
So you're shooting. You're basically you have to have a birdie per hole essentially to win. For those who know golf, that's not realistic at all. But it's video game golf. That's how it's always been.
Right.
And these games were actually very realistic in terms of how it was they're probably the most realistic kind of golf games out there in terms of how difficult they are to play. You feel they're the best representation, but it is a video game, so it's not like you're physically having to swing and hit a ball.
Right.
It's still you with a joystick. If you have good motor skills with your fingers, you're going to do well.
Yeah.
If you can produce a good swing with your finger, you will do well. There's a lot less moving parts in a video game golf swing than there is in an actual golf swing where you're moving your entire freaking body.
Right.
So yeah, I felt I was pretty good at the game. And I see all these other people just having all these difficult times. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to break par, and I'm I can easily I'll shoot probably 8 to 10 under per round usually.
Yeah.
I'll get a birdie every other hole. Essentially, was my skill level. Maybe I'll do better. Certain rounds maybe I'll do a little bit better or whatever. It kind of depends on the course too that you're playing. But to be able to be at the top and to win, it's just ridiculous. And that applies to basically every game out there, every video game out there. It's just nuts, and not even just video games, just every profession, right? Even real sports, real golf.
Yeah, to be the best, to be out there and competing at a professional level, it takes so much skill, time, dedicated, all that stuff.
Right. And so we think of professional athletes, right, and how skilled they are, and to be a professional, and you don't really have that same idea with say esports, video game players. But it's the same thing. They're professionals because they are really good.
Right. Yeah, it's when you think about it, it's not, your kid doesn't necessarily grow up thinking I'm going to be a big esports star, but there are the same amount of people out there, and like your path can take you many ways, right? It's like maybe you're gonna go into professional sports, you're gonna try to, or you're gonna play video games, be very good at it, and go professional video games. Like within your thing that you're doing, there are levels to everything, and like the pros are just insanely good.
I mean, you think of like just in terms, like if we go to, you know, sports, like actual physical athletic sports, like all of the top collegiate athletes, you know, collegiate football athletes that are like stars at their, you know, program. Like it'd be a star at the University of Wisconsin, right? And they can make it to the NFL. And they're out of the league in couple years.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's like, and people just keep getting like better and better at stuff too. Like people just advance. It's like you're a good player, you know. You're always like, when you come from high school to college, it's like, oh, I was a really good high school player. Then you're in college and it's like, you're not a big fish anymore. And it's like you go to the pros and it's like, you're not a big fish anymore. And then it's like you're at the pro level, and eventually at some point it's like, okay, people are just gonna keep growing up, and like younger people are gonna come, and eventually they will just be better than you. Like it will just happen because of age and advancements in like the way people can train and like everything else, you know?
Yeah. And father time always wins too.
Right. Like eventually you just get old.
For athletes, that's, you know, like 30.
Yeah.
That's super old.
Turning 30 this year, and like, you know, I'm not playing football this season because my team decided to be out this year, but like I know some of my teammates are playing for, you know, other teams because the league is still like happening and whatnot. But it's like we've talked about it before. I always say I'm going to play until my body won't let me, or until, you know, I'm not really into it anymore. And it's like it'll probably be my body more than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I don't play football anymore. Like I just feel like I wouldn't be able to. Well, especially with the position I play, where speed is important.
Speed's a major factor, right?
I just don't have that anymore. Like,
yeah. For me, it's like if I can get in the right place, you know, my technique can save me. But like,
you don't have like that far of a, you know, area to go.
Right. It's like I got to move a few feet.
Yeah, you still have to be kind of quick in your first step, but it's not like I'm sprinting, you know.
Nah, man.
You know, 20 yards or whatever.
If I'm running, something's either going really well or really poorly.
And I mean, I wasn't the fastest kid either. It's not like I had blazing speed to begin with, so. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the you know, the farther you move up the competitive, you know, levels, you know, the less advantage you tend to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, you see it all the time with guys in like football, and it's where they might be the fastest kid in college, and they get to the pros, and it's like everyone's that fast. Freaking 300-pound linemen in the NFL run as fast as I do, or as I did.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm a little skilled guy, you know, who was supposed to be fairly quick.
Yeah, like it's your job. One of your jobs is to be fast, and it's like linemen out here just blazing.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Yeah, but I mean that also kind of helped me, I think, you know, in college, because, you know, I went to a Division I high school. I didn't start it all in high school. We had some really good athletes at my school. So then I get to, you know, college. I wasn't a big fish in high school.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to be a big fish in college, but at the college we went to, you know, it's a Division III program. You're getting a lot of kids that were big fishes at smaller schools who don't really understand maybe. I'm not saying like there's not talent at those smaller schools. There certainly is. But when you have a larger number of students in a high school, you tend to have more opportunities for higher talent, right?
Right.
There's just more. So, like, you know, you get these guys, these kids coming from, like, D4, D5 programs, you know, who maybe they even won a state title and thinking they're, you know, hot shit. And they come in, and me, who didn't even start in high school, is like, you won a state title? Right?
Yeah.
It's like I said, not to, you know, put anything.
No, I mean, like, I was D6. Like, it's amazing. Like, I came from, like, a town as big as mine. It's because we have so many high schools. Like, I went to a private school, so I was like D6, right? And it's like, I know of, you know, a handful of people that went on and played, like, at higher, like, levels and stuff, right? And it's like, compared to, like, the D1 schools in town, it's like, it's different levels within the level that you're at, even. You know?
Well, in when you were in high school, even though you were D6, like, did you play any schools that were higher divisions than you?
No, I think we stayed around same division.
Okay.
Our conference was pretty random schools, like, in the area. A lot of private schools.
Sure. Because I mean, like, so, like, my conference in high school, we had a lot of good schools. Like, we had Arrowhead is in that conference. You know, my school wasn't too shabby either. But then we had a D3. There's like a D3 private school, Catholic Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
But they could keep up with us, like, you know, the rest of the schools that were like D1, D2 in the conference. Like, they would play, you know, us during the regular season. They go into the D3 state, you know, tournament, and they would just mop the floor.
Yeah.
Because they were playing these, you know, bigger schools like D1, D2, like us. And, you know, and they were holding their own, and they even, you know, would beat some of us sometimes. And all of a sudden, like, it's just easy for them come playoffs.
Yeah, man, it's nuts when you end up with, like, a school that has, like, they're in a division because of just, like, the area they're in, but they somehow have, like, really good talent, right?
Well, and you see that with private schools.
Yeah.
Because of just choice.
Right.
They might not have, like, the total numbers, but because of that kind of school choice or that choice of education, they're not really locked into a district anymore. You're not locked into, like, I got to go to this high school. It's like, I'm choosing to go to this private high school.
Yeah.
And so they have a little bit easier time of, you know, getting talent with smaller numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But still impressive. So yeah, if you ever think you're, like, really good at something, just move up to a higher level. Just find a higher level.
One level.
Just move one level up.
See how it goes.
See how it goes. Never know how it goes.
Oh, man. It's nuts, man. It's just, like, experience, too. Like, even, you know, like, when I watch high school games now. Like, you ever watch have you watched a high school football game recently?
I didn't last year. I used to always go and see the. I coached high school a little bit for a couple of years there, and then I would always make a trip down over to Madison to watch the state final games. Okay. But I haven't really watched in, like, the last couple of years.
When I've gone to games, and again, like, I'm not watching, like, you know, I say, like, D1 games and whatnot, but it's like when I watch high school games, it's like it feels so much slower, and that comes with, like, the experience, right? It's like the game that it's not a joke. Like, the game literally slows down before you, like, as you move up in, like, levels, right? You get more experience, and, like, you can process more of that stuff.
Yeah. When you get more experience with things, especially with sports, and understand the game more, it's a common theme for people to say the game slows down for you.
Yeah.
You start recognizing things quicker. You start, you know, just being able to react quicker to things, which makes you quicker, even though you might not necessarily be any faster. or whatever, but you're able to just react quicker, and that gives you kind of a little bit of an advantage, that first step. So,
on the other hand, I've been a real life internet maker for years, and again, the bugs, I just make them.
Well, the thing with our job, with our industry, is it's changing all the time.
There's a new JavaScript framework every week,
right? It's nuts. Or they're updating the one you're using. It's like, that won't work anymore.
Breaking everything.
Yeah.
They were going to change this thing, and it's going to make everything 25% faster, but only if you change everything.
Right. If you rework the entire way you built your app.
Yeah,
you really shouldn't have built it that way, even though we told you to build it that way in our previous version.
By the way, past us told you to do the wrong thing. New us is a lot smarter.
Yeah, see, we went up to another level.
Yeah, we moved up a level in the programming.
We understand it. The game is slowing down for us now.
Right. We're like the processor, not fast enough.
Yeah. We got one of those new Ryzens.
Ooh. The Ryzens.
The Ryzen. But that's where the whole imposter syndrome comes into play too.
Yeah.
Right? So as you start understanding more of things, you get to a higher level of things, you get this more sense of there's all this stuff I still don't know. There's so much out there that I didn't know before, and I probably still don't really know. Should I even be here? Right? Should I even how do I even have a job doing this?
When you're inexperienced,
right?
When you're inexperienced, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
But then getting the experience is oh man, I don't understand any of this stuff, and so you feel
You're telling me there's this scenario that I didn't even know about?
This entire thing is a thing? This is a concept?
Why didn't you guys tell me about this? You weren't ready.
You were not ready for this.
It wasn't ready.
It wasn't ready. Gun compartment.
It was, and unfortunately that's something that we're seeing a lot of this year. Speaking of you turning 30, if I can tell you how my 30th year has gone, I'd say don't look forward to it.
Okay.
Not because of anything that I'm doing or happened to me, just the world went to shit.
Yeah. It's man, it was so exciting. Your 30th, and it's we did it, and then
I'm here.
This happened.
Taking on the world. Nope.
The world is winning.
The world freaking won.
Oh man.
So we've had this pandemic that's hit us. We've had, it's a freaking political year, election year.
It's an election year. It's a recession.
It's a recession because of this pandemic, and because people it's the whole imposter syndrome. People don't have it, so they think they know everything, and they're frick you. Not wearing no goddamn mask.
Not doing it.
Not gonna do it. And look at all this closed stuff. Our economy's in shambles. You shouldn't shut down for 10 months.
Man,
well,
it is.
It could have been just 1 month. You dick.
It's been one of those things where we haven't been in the office for a super long time, and my company had a kind of like a picnic thing that we did, which was I don't know, but we went, and it was to go to the office and basically get your stuff. I have a box full of all my stuff. I came home and actually joked with my wife. I was well, I got fired today. I got fired at the company picnic.
I didn't like my potato salad. I'm sorry. It wasn't. What can I do? Good. It was too salty. I
put raisins in it, and they didn't like it.
See, people, if you put raisins in things, people are going to think that they're chocolate chips, and they're going to be so disappointed.
be mad.
Seriously, anyone who makes raisin cookies are no friend of mine.
From a distance, you're like, yeah.
Chocolate frickin' chip.
And then you
Here
show
we
up,
go.
and you're like, sometimes people are sneaky too, and it's not like oatmeal raisin, and it doesn't look
right. Oatmeal raisin, you can tell because the oatmeal is a different consistency for the cookie. Right. Yeah. But if it's just regular cookie dough with raisins in it, that's no bueno.
No bueno.
Like, what would you say is the best type of cookie?
I would say chocolate chunk.
Okay, so chocolate chip. It's cookie dough with like chocolate in it.
Correct.
Like little areas of chocolate.
Yeah, Salt Bae that chocolate right in there.
Yeah, that's the best cookie.
Hands down.
Hands down. Like, it's no contest. It's no contest. So, in my opinion,
cookie is like the pro level of cookies.
It's the pro level. You're making oatmeal cookies over here. You think you're the greatest, but you haven't moved up to the chocolate chip level. But seriously, I don't understand like why people make all these different types of cookies when there's chocolate chip or chocolate chunk
exists.
When you can make the best cookie, why do you settle for anything less? That's what, like, other than maybe like for those who maybe have an issue with like a chocolate issue or something.
Right.
Then I understand. Yeah, fine. Make a cookie that works for you.
You need a substitute.
But if you're a normal person who doesn't have like allergies and you can just eat whatever cookie you want, I don't understand why you would not always eat or always make chocolate chip or chocolate chunk cookie.
Who chooses oatmeal raisin? And
why wouldn't you always make and eat the best?
This is going to be a hot take. I don't even like snickerdoodle cookies. I don't like them. It's not my thing.
No.
I don't know why. I don't like them.
It's not my thing because chocolate chip cookies exist.
Because they exist. Exactly.
They exist.
It's like, it's not like other things where it's like, I can't afford chocolate chip cookies. Like, you can afford chocolate chip cookies. You can, as long as, like you said, there's not anything extra about it, there's no reason why you shouldn't be eating a chocolate chip cookie right now.
I don't understand it. I don't understand.
Tell me why. Tell us why.
The only exceptions I make is if people are making cookies for like decoration purposes, like Christmas cookies where you need to, frost and make like decorations or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't really do that with chocolate chip, right?
Yeah.
But if you're just making cookies for with no decoration or anything, you're just making cookies.
I got a hankering for some cookies. You say to yourself.
Yeah. If you have a hankering for some cookies, you need to make chocolate chip cookies. Otherwise, you are depriving yourself of what's best for you.
The best.
The best or nothing, Ryan. If you're making cookies for your wife. I don't
like to be a Sith, but like when it comes to cookies, it's chocolate chip cookies or nothing.
Like let's say Ryan, you're making cookies. You're baking some cookies for your wife.
All right, I'm out here.
Would you bake raisin cookies?
Never. I wouldn't even think about it.
Because you want the best for your wife.
When you say cookies to me, I think chocolate chip. And if I'm going to give a gift of cookies, chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah.
My wife deserves chocolate chip.
Exactly. She deserves the best.
Gluten-free, but still chocolate chip.
Right. And I'm not saying, you can be gluten-free. We're not even talking about, like, that stuff. We're talking about straight up it's some sort of cookie dough and chocolate chip.
What do you put in your cookie dough? It's not just going to be the dough. What's going to go in it? It's chocolate chips every single time.
Every time.
Chocolate chips, undefeated champions of cookies.
Yeah.
Mark it.
All right, end show. No.
End show, that's it.
That's it.
So we solved it. Chocolate chip cookies are nothing.
Yeah, I don't know how do we even go on from this?
I don't know. We got like, what is the transition? I don't even know.
I mean,
Talking about being the best. We had a goal for this show. We had a title and everything.
yeah,
Did we talk?
COVID 2 Electric Boogaloo. We did. I mean, we sprinkled a little bit COVID right in there, just a little bit.
We got some COVID chips in there. Yeah. The thing is, it's like just the new way of life that is happening, right? Like it's just a new, like we're just dealing with everything that's going on. I got a package coming via USPS. It'll be here in 2 days, or it'll be here in a month. I don't
Freaking
know.
USPS.
So I had to get a replacement for one of my security cameras, and I'm like, I gotta mail this, and as a fool, I chose the ship it yourself option instead of like getting a prepaid label. So I had to go find a box in the house that the camera fit in, pack it all up, get it all marked up, and go to the post office. And I stood in line for forever, like 2 hours before the post office closed, still for a couple hours. And I had so many people in front of me, I heard, asking where their packages were, all this stuff, what's going on. And the lady behind the counter is just like, trust me, we do sweeps every single day, and your package isn't here. Like, if you mailed it, your package isn't here. I promise. It's gone somewhere else, and all this stuff. And it's like, it just seems like the mail system is like jacked up right now.
Yeah, but that's not really due to COVID.
No, that's not due to COVID, but it's just like another thing that piles on this new thing that we're doing. Like you said, like it's an election year. That's not because of COVID, but it's like it's another thing that's like stacking on to what 2020 is.
I mean, it's just a mess. It's a mess. I mean, we had this complaint back during the original shutdown time, early March, when things, sports got shut down, and it was like, okay, now we're going to shut down schools. We're going to do online or whatever. And we did that and finished out the school year. Figured a way to do that. And then, summer hits, summer vacation, and people are like, well, I need to go outside. I'm not going to wear a mask outside. I can go to the supermarket and not wear a mask. It's fine. Because it's summer. It's warm outside. The virus is dead. And so now we screwed around like the entire summer. Nobody took it seriously. And now we're getting to the point where schools are opening back up, or should be opening back up. And we don't have a plan. Well, the plan is let's just open up. How bad could it be?
Let's try it.
Let's try it. Kids won't get sick.
Yeah, there's like a big mix of stuff. Like there's that like school, I think it was like in Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's just, this entire time Georgia's just been like,
that kid got suspended for like posting a video of like all the kids in school with no masks, and like the principal or the superintendent was like, we can't feasibly enforce a mask policy, so
but you can enforce dress codes.
It's like, okay, I guess we do dress codes then. And like I know like my nephew, they just had like not an open house yet, but they just went to go like pick up Chromebooks. Went to go pick up like Chromebooks. They're gonna do like online learning, at first and stuff. It's crazy. All this stuff is impacting so much stuff. Like school wise, it's like, yeah, some people are like, yeah, let's just go back and try. And other people are like, we're gonna go online and we're gonna do that. And that leaves some kids kind of in the lurch, like when it comes to like special needs kids and like their like IEPs and stuff. Like some schools in the spring, like we're just like, we're not doing any education because we're afraid we're going to get sued by people that have like special needs kids that like need to have special education that can't be fulfilled online.
Well, not even special needs kids. You think of like first graders that have to do online learning.
Yeah.
Like
it's
the,
rough.
like
It's
the
like not
young
only
kids. Like
what are you gonna do with a 4-year-old, like in a 4K classroom, or a 5-year-old, or like even, like you said, like a first grader who's got to do stuff, and it's like they got to do online learning and they got to adjust to doing all this stuff, and like, yeah, it's an adjustment, it's a thing to like get used to, but it's like a whole different animal, and it's so probably hard to keep a kid focused on something like that. Yeah. And then like even on top of that, the next layer into it is like, who is equipped to do this, right? Like, so let's just say you're doing online learning. Do you have the equipment to give to children to do online learning? Every kid doesn't have a computer. Every kid doesn't have access to reliable internet, right? Which is like insane. Right?
Which, yeah. And that's another thing. Frickin' utility companies, frickin' internet companies, internet service providers, they should be frickin' utilities, because our world nowadays is all, like, internet is a necessity.
Yeah.
It's a utility now. So it should be regulated like one.
Yeah, we've talked about this, and I tweeted about it like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, the internet, like, everyone needs, like, if this pandemic has, like, shown nothing else, which, like, it's rife with information, but, like, if it's shown nothing else, it's that the internet is essential to, like, the way we're doing things now, and, like, even before and after, like, it's the way you get to stuff, it's the way you connect, it's the way we get information, and, like, especially now, it's like for Spectrum right now to be requesting that they can get out of their data cap, limit right now. Like, they requested a couple weeks ago to get out of their agreement when they bought Time Warner. They like agreed that they wouldn't add data caps to their internet until like 2023 or something, right? They're trying to get out of it right now, and they're like, "Oh, we just want to be able to, but like we promise we won't." It's like, what are you doing? You're only trying to capitalize on the fact that people are home and using the internet. Like AT&T right now, unless you get their fastest plan, they charge you like an extra $10 a month per like 50 gigs or something you go over your data cap. And it's like, data caps are garbage.
Yeah. And I mean, they proved it when they, at the beginning of this pandemic, they took it off.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't need it. There is no reason for a data cap other than freaking money.
It might have stressed some things out. I don't know. I mean, I know that like YouTube and like Netflix in certain areas were like scaled down to certain resolutions, and you could like bump them up higher manually and whatever. But it's like, seems like everything kind of made it through.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and then here's the thing. So if you don't have reliable internet, you can go, a good resource would be going to like a public library. They have computers and they have internet there, and they have books and resources and stuff like that. But guess what's not getting funded? Public libraries. Like everything we've done just in our society, in our leadership, has just completely wrecked any sort of solutions that we could have had for this pandemic, and made this a more bearable thing.
Yeah.
And got us onto a path that actually had us or on a better path, like some of the other countries in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, every country has dealt with this.
Yeah.
And I find it, oh my God, I find it so, it makes me so angry when people like just blame China for this virus.
Right.
Like, well, China shouldn't have let it go. Okay, yeah, they were wrong, or they didn't do a good enough job.
Nobody's saying that there's not blame to be had there.
But blame can be pointed in many different areas.
Yeah.
Are you just going to like pretend or rely on others to always prevent things for you? Or are you going to have plans in case those fail-safes or those initial steps don't work. Just in case a virus gets out of China, do you have a plan? Do you have a fail-safe to help contain it for your own country? And a lot of countries had that. They had plans. We might have. I mean, it didn't seem like it. Not everyone followed it, if there was. But, like, you can't just, like, you can, sure, there's blame that can be on China. There can be blame in plenty of, other states or other countries. There can be, you can point blame there. But there's a crap ton of blame that's right here.
Yeah, it's like everybody's, like, own personal responsibility, as well as, like, like you said, like, states. Like, it's even as granular as, like, states as, like, counties. Like, the way we've been handling this, like, like Milwaukee County, like, has a mask mandate, or, like, the city has a mask mandate. And it's like, dude, I can drive south 2 blocks and I'm in Milwaukee, and I can drive east a few and I'm in, like, West Milwaukee and whatever else.
You can't drive east and go to West Milwaukee, Ryan.
Exactly. I'm driving. No, you think you can't, but I'm driving east and I'm going West Milwaukee. Exactly. But I'm still in Milwaukee County.
You can go a half hour south and you can be in a completely other state. You can be in Illinois.
Be out here. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's like there's so many things, like, I don't know. Hindsight is always 20/20, right? But it's like I don't know, man. Like, it feels like we maybe could have done a better job, or we could be doing a better job, or, like, we could at least be, like, unified.
There was a pandemic response plan set up by our previous administration.
Yeah.
That got totally scrapped. I'm not saying that plan would have worked.
We're not saying it's perfect. We're not saying
it's perfect.
There was one, right?
But you cannot just throw all this blame somewhere else when you have scrapped a potential plan, a potential solution that you didn't even look at. You didn't even...
Yeah. It's like
been infuriating.
When I use a new JavaScript library and I just think I know everything, and I don't look at the documentation, and then I get super frustrated at some point, and I eventually look at the documentation and I'm like, you know what? I'm the idiot.
And you know what's going to happen? Well, and so, reckon the Postal Service is reckon just getting... Mailboxes are taken away and sorting systems are being shut down, and there's, like, why now? Why in an election year, a couple months before an election, when in states where 75% of the voting is done by mail?
Right.
Why are we doing it right now? If this has been a problem for decades, why are we doing it right now?
Why is it suddenly a priority?
So who knows what's going to happen in this election? I hope for the best. Indications are pointing towards, even if our current president doesn't win, who knows what he's going to do? He still has a couple months still in office.
He's a couple months still in office. People can decide they're not going to follow the rules in general. I don't know, man.
How much stuff has gone wrong since he was, quote unquote, impeached?
Remember when impeachment was, like, the hottest topic? It was the thing?
That was like 10 years ago, Ryan.
Oh my god, it feels like 10 years ago for sure. Oh man.
If you're thinking that this administration cannot, like, mess up any other stuff in the time of, say, potentially losing the election in early November, and the time that he is supposed to be out of office, early January, those, like, 2 months essentially. If you don't think he can mess anything up or do anything drastic, got another thing coming. But
just remember, guys, to bring it back to an earlier statement we made, he's operating at a whole other level. than other people, right? So like his impact and everything that's going on, like we're at a whole nother level as America right now. There's so many things.
The level is not like it's not a good high level. It's a high level of just incompetence. Like if you thought you were pretty incompetent,
right,
you're nothing. Like you're nothing until you get to that next level.
If you've ever had imposter syndrome, don't you worry.
But let's just assume let's assume that he does not win re-election.
Yeah.
The COVID's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away. We still need like everybody, and that's not going to fix like individual states doing what they're doing, but like we talked about.
There are people out there who think this is a whole conspiracy and that once the election happens, this whole virus is going away.
Dude,
because the entire world is in on this against this one dude. This one incompetent dude.
John Oliver, okay, like a couple weeks ago, like a couple episodes ago, he mentioned the fact that, like, you know, with conspiracy theories, I think his episode a couple weeks ago was on conspiracy theories, and he mentioned the fact that, like, for conspiracy theories, like, to be true, like, people have done like the work, like there's math that can be done that can say, okay, for a conspiracy this size,
yeah,
for a certain size, this is how long it would take before it would fall apart, and this is how many people it would rely on. And like he used like the moon landing as an example.
Like how many hundreds of thousands of people worked on the moon landing?
To fake the moon landing, it would have taken like a stupid amount of people, and it would have fallen apart in like 3.6 years or something like that.
Like, so the moon landing, like all of NASA, so many people worked on it for years. And many, you know, rocket, you know, launches, you know, to get initially people, you know, into orbit, and then finally like around the moon, and then finally on the moon. Like there was build up to it, and there's so many people were working on it, and it wasn't just the United States; it was the USSR as well, the Soviet Russia, who that is the space race. It was between the USA and Soviet Russia.
Nice.
And you think if this was faked, that the USA at that time would win that race, be on the moon first? You think USSR, Soviet Russia, would have called that out? You bet your ass they would have.
You'd be like, no.
But no, they essentially confirmed it. They're like, yeah, they won. Like, but at the time, like the Cold War, it was like we were rivals. Like, there's no way they would have accepted a fake moon landing.
Yeah.
In history. There's no way. Absolutely no way. But beyond that, with the amount of people, somebody would have had to have spilled the beans in... Yeah. Think of when you tell a secret to a group of friends. It's going to get out there. Because your small group of, like, 5 friends, somebody's going to say something. It's going to happen. And that's just 5 people. When you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people working on something, the chances of somebody in that group being like one of your 5 friends, letting that secret out, getting drunk one night and be like, hey, you remember what Ryan did? He freaking landed on the moon. No, he didn't. I'm sorry. He actually faked it. It was down in Hollywood. It was awesome. We got this set and everything.
Yeah, like this article says it would have taken just over 400,000 people keeping it a secret. Right?
That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why when you hear about things like CIA, FBI, like, you know, all this like classified information, it is like that information is when it's super like high level important information, it's not just like broadcasted to everyone in the company.
Yeah.
It's like need to know basis, because the less people know, the less, chance it gets out. Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying like there are some conspiracy theories that end up being true, for sure. But if you're thinking like the moon landing or the coronavirus, COVID-19, that has affected the entire world, if you think that it is specific, that everyone, every country, even our allies, like Canada and Germany, like all of our allies, Britain and everyone, just speaking of Britain, my God, are they? Their leadership is none too great either. But like, if you thought everyone would just be in on this, just to spite this freaking con man of a president that we have.
It's
this guy who's had multiple freaking bankruptcies that won't release his tax returns.
One of those things where it's like,
but he's so good with money, even though he inherited all his money, has gone bankrupt multiple times, won't release his tax returns.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. You're not going to believe anything then.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like people they believe what they believe, and like they dig in to what they believe. Like,
it's a primal instinct.
Like,
John Oliver even did something on that.
It's one of those things where it's all like someone can know that they're wrong, but it's like if it's part of their identity or like what their thing is. Like I saw some like huge comment on
or maybe it
on
wasn't
Reddit
John Oliver.
That like
somebody else.
Yeah, on Reddit where they were like
the oatmeal. That's what it was.
Like your whole like the whole idea is that like certain people and like certain groups can like stick to an idea, and that's true on like both sides of the fence. It's like it's not just like supporters of the president. It's not just like
it's anything.
It's like it's anybody, and like anybody, like if it's part of their identity,
any deeply held belief.
Held belief, right? Like they're gonna dig in no matter what, and even if they like hear stuff to the contrary, they're gonna be like, no, it's got to be this way. It's got to be all this, and it's one of those tough things where it's like, I don't know. It's hard to convince some people of stuff, and it's hard sometimes these days for like people to just be like open to things.
Well, and so like that brings up another thing that has come up this year, and the whole Black Lives Matter, the whole racial inequality movements. When you and there, we've had like there's been statues torn down, right, of slave owners or whatever, and there's what about George Washington? Mm-hmm. And there's this, he's the first president of the United States.
Debate of like it's the identity of the country, right? It's like
he's this important figure that since we were children, we've grown up like he's on our money. He's this. He's the identity. It's when you think of the history of the United States, one of the things you think about is the first president, George Washington, who fought in the Revolutionary War and some of those early wars, and you have him held in a higher regard, and you don't really get taught, or you don't really associate him with actually being a slave owner and maybe not being that great of a guy, right? And so when somebody and this has certainly happened to me, I'm not really immune to this. Like when people want to tear down, like when I see people want to tear down like a George Washington statue, I'm like, he was her first president though. Like it's tough. It's even tough for me to really like get behind it, because I'm like,
it means something, and there's a positive aspect to like certain things, and it's like where do you draw the lines for things like this? Like where do you say like this, not that this person is untouchable, but like how can we maybe like keep this part of the legacy but also expose this other part, or like again, I'm not a Sith, so it's like not, everything isn't black and white. It's not.
Right.
It's not as simple as that. It's a complicated thing, and it's one of those things
area.
like we've talked about before, where like, again, we need to be having those conversations. We need to be talking about stuff. We need to figure out stuff together. And like, I agree. I understand. It's like George Washington, America, that's the thing, right? And it's like a lot of people don't want to look at the darker sides of things, or the things that aren't, don't put things in a good light. But sometimes you do. And nowadays we're starting to push more of those things into the light and say, like, we need to address this.
Yeah.
And talk about it.
It's super tough with history and it's not just the United States. It's like any civilization, great civilization from the past.
Yeah.
Used slaves of some sort.
Right.
To build stuff. And so like, it's super hard when it was such an ingrained thing in basically the world back then.
Right.
But our country is so young compared to everywhere else.
Right.
Right. We look at a house that's like 50 years old and we're like, this is super old. Let's tear it down and rebuild it. Over in Europe, they have like freaking houses that were built like 500 years ago are in prime condition.
When I'm here in the Midwest, I'm like, my house is trash. It was built in 1942. I got to get out of here. Right. No, man. But yeah, you're right. It's like we've got this, every country and every like leader and every like portion of history has like, I completely subscribe to, like the victors write the history, right?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
The people who come out ahead write, the history, the story of what happened. And so like, you're not going to 100% get the best story from, the people that came out ahead. There's some merit and there's value in, the story of the loser, right?
Yeah.
The side that didn't win. Like, there were things about the side that didn't end up coming out on top in history that like end up being valuable in some ways. And there are things that the winning side covered up and that people don't talk about because the winning side is the prevailing side. They're the one that ended up, and we like the world the way it is, in certain ways. And so, to start kind of dismantling that or picking at it is, one of those, it's a scary thing.
It's tough. It's tough to get out of your own comfort zone.
Right.
Right. You're like, with obviously, the U.S. education system, we really only learn certain things, right? We only focused on certain things, throughout our school years. Because, the world history is freaking large.
Yeah.
You can't cover everything, right? So, in the U.S., we focus a lot on, the U.S. side of things and how things were from our point of view. But if you ever talk to someone from, other countries, and what they learned, about, like, say, did they really talk much, or what did they talk about with, like, about the American Revolutionary War? Like, how is Britain's education? Yeah. What do they say about it, right? So many countries have, their education with their point of view, they learn about different things, or they explore different topics or areas that we don't talk about because there's other things that we're more interested in covering. Yeah. We want to do a section on the Pilgrims and Thanksgiving and stuff like that, right? They're not going to talk about that over in Europe. They don't care.
They don't. Why would they care?
Right, exactly.
They care people left here and started something new.
Yeah, and then named all their towns after our towns. Oh, wait. Why'd you...
New York?
New York? But we have the original York. We have the OG York here.
You remember, we came from England? What should we call this? I don't know. New England?
New England?
Have you ever watched Silicon Valley?
No, I have not.
Okay, dude.
I've seen clips, but like I haven't actually watched it.
Okay, so one of the bits on there is one of the guys from like their like intern like developer think tank, like incubator. That's what they call it. Their incubator. he at some point was all like, he had a whiteboard full of ideas, and he's just like, new Facebook, new Twitter. And it was just like the new version. He's like, Jin Yang, are you just putting new in front of things that exist, and you're just going to try and come up with a different version of it? Or
what's in the movie The Internship? What'd they name their new app?
Oh, I don't know.
It was like exactly Instagram, but they named it something else.
Exchangeogram?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man, I haven't seen that movie, and so I need to watch that again.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too, but yeah, it's, oh my god, schools are supposed to start. Athletic seasons for those schools may or may not be happening depending on what school you're on.
Big, like NCAA like conferences, or like we're pushing stuff off until spring.
Yeah, it's yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Like, we're friends with like a bunch of teachers and stuff.
Yep.
Like, I know one that's like already back in, like, they're doing virtual learning, but they're requiring the teachers to like come to the building, which is like funny to me because it's like their building's internet is nowhere near as good as like the individual teacher's internet. Like, it would be a much more reliable and better situation.
Yeah.
From there and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's insane. Like, we're going into a new phase of COVID where like you said, we had it started, we freaked out, schools like stopped, and then we had summer where like not a lot of things happened. Obviously like baseball got pushed back, and basketball got delayed and all that stuff. But it's like now we're hitting this new phase where like fall sports should be starting, and fall education should be starting, and like what are we doing?
And people want to say, well, we quarantined, or we did this for 4 or 5 months or whatever, we should be good to go back. No, we didn't do a good enough job. Like, yeah,
it's like that school
we half-assed it.
About, like, that school with the video, like they shut down already.
Yeah, what's going to happen? Schools are going to start up, athletics may start up, and then inevitably there's going to be cases that pop up because this virus hasn't gone away. We didn't do a good enough job, during our quarantine times because people weren't serious about it. Not enough people were serious about it.
Even countries that have fared well, that have done well, right?
Yeah.
Like, are now like we're seeing second waves of stuff. It's coming back because we haven't like cured it.
No, and at this point, really, there's nothing we can really do until a vaccine hits. Right. At this point, we're not going to get herd immunity. Jesus,
herd immunity.
We're not going to get it. We could send everyone back. Everyone gets freaking sent into the COVID incubation room.
Yeah.
And get everyone to catch it or whatever, and many people die.
May the strong survive.
But there's no way we're going to get herd immunity. I literally cannot say it.
It's not so much the heat, it's the gosh darn humidity.
But you know what I'm saying. Like, it's not going to happen right now. Not enough people in the United States have gotten this. I'm not saying it's not a significant amount. It's a significant amount that have had this virus, but not enough to really to put us on a path for herd immunity. I did it. Proud of myself there.
You should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you.
So really, we're waiting for a vaccine, and maybe end of year if we're lucky. That's like best case scenario right now.
Yeah.
So, we can send kids back to school, and maybe kids aren't gonna, be affected by this all that much. But what about the staff? What about the older people? What about the parents at home? What about everyone else those kids are going to interact with outside of their friends or the other young people at school?
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's that thing that
They spread to.
Tried to think of like this whole time. It's it's like you and I'll be fine, right? But like,
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe, but like, even if we are, what I'm saying is like, it's not about you. It's about other people.
Right. And we've seen people who've struggled with this because they didn't realize their underlying health conditions.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know. They think they would be fine. In high school, I had heart surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know if that affects anything for me in terms of this COVID thing. I don't know how it would affect me. I don't even know if I've gotten it.
Yeah.
Maybe I have, but I haven't had any symptoms.
Well, you don't know, right?
But I don't know.
Like I have a buddy who's like pretty sure I had it in January. I'm like, I don't know.
Like I've done pretty well in terms of wearing a mask, staying, kind of isolating myself a bit.
I'm sick of the house, bro. I'm sick of it. But
I've been hanging a lot, in my house, but I've been going out golfing. That's pretty socially distanced, though. But I have been going to, every week I go to the grocery store to get, food, supplies. If I had it, it's possible, even if I was, I didn't have any symptoms.
Yeah.
That I could have possibly spread it. But I don't know, because I didn't get tested because I didn't have any symptoms.
Right.
But I'm doing the best I can.
Then that's all we can really ask.
And that's really all we can ask.
That everybody does their part.
But not everyone has. We've tried taking good steps, but people aren't listening, or people haven't listened. And it's basically screwed the pooch. Like, we didn't put ourselves on a good path to make it to be at this point in the year, August, to be able to send kids back to school, to be able to do athletics without. Like, they're gonna try. Yeah,
we're gonna try.
But there are gonna be cases. It's gonna happen. It just is. Like, how far along will? I mean, you're seeing like the NHL and basketball. They're doing bubbles, and they've done really well. They haven't had any, confirmed cases because they're in bubbles. So it's worked out really well for them.
Right.
But the rest of society is not in bubbles. And
right.
The NFL is not going to be in bubbles. Like, how far in their season are they going to get?
Right.
And you talk about basketball and hockey, like, they're players, and it's been tough for them because that bubble, like, they don't have family in there. Like,
right.
They're without family for a couple months. And that's
like everybody's isolating. Like, for people that have like isolated or try to like stay, like follow the rules that have been put out there and stuff. It's like, think about that even potentially at an even higher level. Like, these people are leaving the people that they would have just isolated with to go make their living, right?
Yeah, and like, when they're doing their job, right? They're professional athletes, but their job, they didn't sign up for, like, when, initially, like, I'm going to go to the NFL or the NBA or the NHL.
Right.
That means I'm going to play professionally. That means I'm going to go on the road for a couple days for a road trip, of games or whatever. But, every week I'm basically being able to see my family. They didn't sign up for, like, I'm going into this profession, meaning I'm going to be away from my family. Oh, by the way, I just had a kid.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be the off season for our sports. So we timed our pregnancies and our kids to be born.
You know what? We timed it just right. And then this stuff comes up and it's like, you know what? No, you didn't.
No. So they got little kids at home and they're not going to be able to see them for months. There was just a case in the NHL where a team's starting goaltender just he left in the middle of these playaffs.
Really?
Well, I mean, he didn't just like up and leave without telling anyone.
He just skated right off the ice and said, "I'm out of here."
Crashed through the gates. Give me my taxi. I'm out. No, he left because there was a family emergency. And you could tell. I mean, you could tell before that like he was not handling this whole bubble situation. He has young kids at home. He was not handling it very well. His mental health was just not handling it. Mm-hmm. And he leaves for the good of his mental health and his family. And people are just ragging on him. Like, how can he abandon his teammates? How can he abandon the fan base, the fans? He's a professional athlete. He's getting paid $7 million to play.
The entitlement of the fans.
Mental health doesn't care about your salary.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about how much you make.
Does not care about literally anything about your life. Like, no. It does not matter.
You're telling me if you're a parent and you have a family emergency that happens, your kid has, for example, let's say your kid has gotten hurt or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like let's just say maybe they got, like, I don't know, they got
the old bicycle
hit by a bicycle or something. Maybe they like, I don't know, broke an arm or something. Yeah. Nothing like life threatening, but still.
Kids do that.
Still, like something that like your kid is hurt and they need you. Are you gonna be like, well, I'm getting paid $100,000 to work at this job. I gotta stay till 5:00 here and finish up my work. Or are you going to tell your boss, my kid just got in an accident. I need to go. I need to leave. You're going to go. Even if your boss says no, you're going to go because that's your kid.
Right. Yeah.
Like when you have kids of your own, and I'm talking, this is somebody who doesn't have any experience with this. I don't have kids that I know of.
I mean, look at all those pops just exposed.
But if I had a kid, screw work.
Yeah,
that's my kid.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's
yeah, the entitlement of fans is just ridiculous. But people put professional sports, they make it seem like they're not people anymore. Athletes aren't people.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like celebrity. Like anyone gets like any level of like fame and celebrity, they are, they always say like it comes to the territory and stuff, and it's all like whatever.
Certain
it's
things with fame.
That person is kind of just another person.
Definitely just another person.
They're just good at a thing you're not good at. Like, I met Leroy Butler last year, and he was like a dude.
Yeah.
Right? Dude. Like, he was just like a cool dude, like just hanging out. He was grilling and stuff, and it's all like, this is just a dude.
Yeah.
He's really good. He was really good at the thing that he did, and like people that you meet that are famous are really good at the stuff that they do.
They're on that level. You're at that high level.
I'm the best Ryan Gales that there has ever been. But like, I'm just another dude. And like that applies to everything.
Just because someone makes a couple $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Or whatever they make. A lot more money than I will make in my entire lifetime.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're not just another person. Like, they're still... Yeah, they have certain other things going on. They have certain advantages or certain things that come with the territory of being a professional athlete or a more wealthy person or whatever. But in the end, they're still human beings. They're still people. And in the case of Mr. Jeff Bezos, they should still pay their taxes.
Yes.
But yeah, it's nuts when it just people just think that entertainers or professional athletes are just immune to mental health or family issues or anything. Freaking Kanye West. He's freaking mentally out there.
He literally put on his album cover, "I'm bipolar." Like,
he is bipolar. He takes his medication sometimes and he's all right, and then he doesn't take his medication and he's just off his rockers.
And that's the thing. It's like, Kanye West is a musical genius, but he's another dude. He's just a dude. And every dude can have mental problems.
He's a musical genius. Not quite sure. Actually, I'm pretty sure. He's not really a genius outside of that.
Yeah, I'm not fully convinced of that either.
And he's definitely not. I'm telling you right now. He's out there, especially when he's off his medication. He is out there.
Yeah. We've seen the Twitter rant.
Well,
I saw the last one live. I was there. Front row tickets. I just so happened to be on Twitter and I was like, oh, kind of tweeting.
There it is. There's no replies, no retweets yet. Oh, now there is. Twitter updated. There's a second later, there's 1,000. How did that happen? How are you guys all so quick? How many bots are there? So many bots. And then, talk about Kanye West. He is no longer going to be on the Wisconsin presidential ballot. You see that?
Is he not?
No, he got taken off. Although there was one
suing some other state because of their him getting off the ballot there.
It was voted. I think only one state Congress person in Wisconsin voted for him to still be on it.
Okay.
And of course it was Republican. And one of the arguments that they put out was, and this is insane, if he's not on the ballot, then black people won't have a choice.
What?
Yeah.
Doesn't.
So there's two parts of that. You're saying that black people can only vote for black people, and then which is obviously ridiculous. But you're also saying that he, like, white people couldn't also vote for Kanye West,
right? Like I'm pretty sure I know more white people that are more likely to vote for Kanye West than black people.
I mean, I would say most of his fan base is white.
It's insane. I just don't like, in all, a candidate like Kanye West does nothing but just take votes away from one of the two major parties, which then, like,
yeah,
it's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing.
We tried this joke with Trump in 2016.
That's another thing. We
learned our lesson of, like, don't just put random people in there.
So I love how it's the same people who when, like, some celebrity, it doesn't matter who, and it doesn't matter necessarily what their belief is or what they're saying, but when some celebrity or maybe a sports figure tweets out something political, stick to dribbling the ball.
Oh yeah,
stick to sports. Like, they're not human beings, like they're not affected by politics either.
Shut up and dribble. Your votes don't count.
So they can't vote, or, like, what are you trying to say here?
Like, LeBron James gets a ballot in the mail just like everybody else.
Like, celebrities shouldn't have a political opinion. Why not? Also, why did you vote for a celebrity to be president?
I'll refer you back to my "everyone is just a dude" statement. Like,
yep,
everybody's
exactly.
just a dude. Like,
everyone's just a regular dude or dudette.
Yeah, Kamala Harris. She's just a dude. She's just some dude in a position to do some stuff that other dudes can't. But, like,
God, this whole thing is just infuriating. This entire year, this entire frickin' situation.
It's been a
and the only thing that we have that can really solve it is a vaccine, essentially.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, even if say Trump loses the election, Biden wins, essentially in that case, because the third party is not going to win. It's not going to happen in our two-party system.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We'll probably never be there. So let's say Biden wins the presidential election. This virus isn't just going to go away.
Right.
You're going to have people who are going to be... You're going to have a minority of people who are going to be super upset that Biden won. You're going to have this president still in office for 2 months, probably thinking of all these ways, and also a Congress that also somehow supports him, despite all of those same people denouncing him before he got elected president. That's a whole nother thing. Trying to figure out a way to sabotage something. He's going to do his best to not go peacefully. There's no way. Out of everything I've seen from this dude, this Donald character, everything he said, nobody's going to accept this election, the results of this election. With everything Donald has said, saying as such, with all the shit going down with the U.S. Postal Service, with everything, nobody's going to accept. With Republicans thinking this coronavirus is somehow a conspiracy against Donald Trump, both sides are thinking there's conspiracies against them, or there's things working against them winning. Whoever wins, it's going to be because of a rigged election. Shit's about to hit the fan in a couple months.
It's going to be a bad time.
And people are not going to want to... There's probably going to be protests. Although, well, I was going to say, it's going to be a little colder, so not as easier to protest in the northern states, but it'll still happen. There'll be protests. People will probably stop wearing masks because the election happened, a vote happened, and thus the virus has gone away. And things are going to spike. The economy is going to be like, ah!
Oh, Lord!
Money!
Money!
And we're just gonna be like, and the only thing that can help is really the vaccine, which
virus.
the virus is gonna help. It's gonna clear everyone else.
The savior.
You know, a very long time ago, the universe was created, which has been regarded as a pretty poor move. Made a lot of people mad. It's a famous Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you haven't read it, it's a great book. I obviously paraphrased it, but
right,
some really good quotes in there. But it's just, man, the vaccine's going to come out, and we have all these people who are getting all their news from Facebook, all these anti-vaccine people.
Yeah, I mean, there's... If we're going to get into it, I've seen way too many...
We don't have enough time to get into this.
I've seen way too many, you're going to make me wear a mask? Well, soon you're going to make me get a government ID, and then you're going to make me get an ID chip, and then you're going to track where I am. Well, let me tell you, everyone who thinks that, if you're posting that from your iPhone...
If you have a phone, if you just have a phone...
Using a smartphone or the internet in general... Let me tell you, they know where you are because 98% of you aren't using a VPN. You're not hiding any of your traffic. You're not doing anything. We could look up where you are at any time. And like, while Apple insists that they will not make a backdoor for the government, who's to say they have not already done that? And everyone else, like, let's not pretend that we haven't, for the sake of like the convenience of the internet and all the stuff we've have access to, like, given up our souls in that way already. So like, let's not pretend that wearing a mask is the path to a totalitarian government. It's not. Like, if you're afraid that you're going to be able to be tracked everywhere and controlled, you already are.
Yep.
I sold my soul to Google years ago. I'm heavy on the Android train, and like, I for one welcome our robot overlords, but like, that's me, and I understand if you haven't come to cope with that yet, but you're going to one day.
But it's my body, my choice, Ryan. I don't have to wear a mask in your establishment, even though I am required to wear other clothing.
Yeah, no shirt, no shoes, no service. I'm fine. I don't want to see these shoeless bastards in here, but a mask? No.
That restricts my freedom.
Freedom! Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, Ryan. I've had this thought for a long time.
Katanas?
Oh, dude, katanas. Dude, a game just came out. Freaking Samurai Jack.
Did it?
A Samurai Jack game came out, and I want to get it. That was that show was sick.
I don't think I ever finished it, but like, it was so good. I loved it.
Just at the time.
Oh, it's on HBO. Yes.
Yeah, that at the time when that cartoon series first came out, Samurai Jack, it was like its art style was just super ridiculously different and good.
No.
It was completely different than any other like cartoon that was really on like Cartoon Network at the time.
Yeah.
Like all the environments were just like had this stylized matte painting environments or whatever. Like everything was just, it was such artistically, it was such a beautiful cartoon. And not only that, but it was a samurai main character going to the future,
right?
Freaking fighting evil with a katana and other futuristic stuff. Getting sent back in time. Kazaku! It was, so yeah, I need to buy that game. Speaking of. But I've been thinking, if Trump wins the election, I think I'm moving out of country.
You think you're moving?
I think I'm moving out of country.
Where are you going to go, bud?
I'm going to go to Canada.
Up to Canada?
I'm going to go to Canada, Derry.
You know, I thought about...
If they let me...
If they'll let you.
Canada's freaking building a wall.
Yeah, they're like...
Well, I mean, they're not. I'm saying that in jest. But
do it.
It's funny how we always talked about keeping, like, Mexicans out.
Yeah. Freaking
Canada's like freaking Americans are.
Further north you are, the less you want the southern people to be.
I mean, what do we think of like all the people like, you know, the Confederates, right?
Yeah, dude, no, that's how it works. Like if you're from the north, you don't want anything to do with the people from the south.
A bunch of degens.
Bunch of degens from down country.
Down country. Oh my God. The Confederacy lasted 5 years, Ryan. Yes, it's a big part of our history.
Huge part of our history.
The Patriots dynasty lasted longer than them.
For real. And people hate the Patriots.
Yeah.
I do not hate the Confederates.
What else lasted longer than 5 years?
There's so many things. Like
so many things.
There's like things that lasted longer than the Confederacy.
Internet Explorer lasted longer than the Confederacy.
Oh, may it rest in final peace next year, though, my guy. Oh, for this new product we're building, we're like secretly like no Internet Explorer. But
I'm lucky. The thing I'm building it's on an iPad, so that's the only thing I've had to worry about, which has been nice. But yeah, Internet Explorer. Oh God.
Oh, RuPaul's Drag Race, Starbucks, birth control, Barack Obama's presidency, prohibition, student loan debt, production of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, sourdough starters.
I just rewatched the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I haven't seen it in so long.
This past week, I just decided I'm just going to watch this again.
Oh.
It's so good.
Microsoft Zune. So my mom actually came here today and brought me the box for my OG Zune. Like, I have the Zune in a drawer someplace, but she's like, here's the box for it, because she's trying to get rid of all my junk from her house. Oh, Zune. So good.
All those things that were more valid part of our history meant more to our history than a 5-year frickin' 5 years of these rebellious people because of states' rights to have slaves.
Yeah, it was definitely the states' rights to have slaves.
To have slaves. What was that last part?
Yeah, don't worry about the last part.
I wouldn't worry about that little guy. Oh my God, Ryan, we went 2 hours.
Did we?
Yeah.
I mean, time flies when you're having fun.
COVID 2 Electric Boogaloo 2 hours. Usually we try to stick to around 1 hour, but
yeah.
I mean,
and we got this all pent up. Our last episode was more than a month ago.
It's about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, a month and a half.
A little bit longer than we want, but I mean, so much for how boring it's been being cooped up or having to deal with this, quarantine or, this pandemic. A lot of crap has happened.
Right?
So much for sports to be, not being played. I mean, they did pick up playing again, but for a lack of for a lot of things that have gotten canceled, a lot of events, festivals, music, stuff.
I was supposed to go to a Fall Out Boy, Weezer, and Green Day concert in Illinois last week. Nope, next year. For all the things that have gotten canceled, for all the events that didn't happen, there sure is a crap ton of stuff to it that still need to be talked about, but we just don't have the time. We gotta cut this at 2 hours. Yeah, that's it. We gotta call it.
We gotta call it. And for everyone listening, I hope you got something out of this episode.
Yeah.
If you stayed,
thanks for sticking with us.
If you stuck around for these 2 hours, man, power to you. More power to you. Congratulations. Feel good about yourself.
You're performing at a higher level.
And the thing is, doing that is probably even tougher now than ever before because people don't really have long commutes anymore right now.
Yeah.
Right? Podcast
For
listening.
someone to listen to an entire, this episode, it's you got to be dedicated.
Yeah. We appreciate your dedication. If you're watching on the YouTubes, if you're watching video, please, hit that subscribe button just because of Ryan's afro going on.
Mullet?
Sorry.
I think
you should turn it into a mullet.
It's the black man's mullet. I know I said that I wasn't going to grow it back out, but I think I'm going to grow it back out, and I think I'm going to try something with it this time.
Ooh.
So stay tuned. Now that you guys can see us, maybe one day this will be special.
Next time on Binary Brothers Podcast Z. There's no Z. There's no Z. Nobody's turning Super Saiyan here.
Don't search for us.
Actually,
Z.
Brian, if you want to dye your hair yellow, dye it blonde, be a Super Saiyan Brian.
I don't know. We'll
get to that next level.
It'd be special.
You never know. We'll find out next time.
for listening to this episode of the Binary Brothers Podcast. We can't wait for you to tune in next time. But until then, make sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and BinaryBrothersPodcast.com.